you.
Can we explain to the cocoa farmers why they are not getting the 6,000 promised by Ato Forcing, and can we help them appreciate the economy as it is now, that the CD is doing well, for which reason when they change the dollar, they might not get as much as they would have expected when the dollar was higher?
Nana, I think that first of all, we need to contextualize the discussion. In the sense that we are dealing with a government that at the back of the last election made certain promises. And even before those promises, we were the largest opposition party in the country. And as part of our democratic responsibility, we were charged to ensure that we hold the then government accountable. Yeah. Depending on the prevailing economic situation at the time. So every discussion we had was within that framework, that context, and that should not be lost on anybody. It is for good reason, or it was for good reason, that if you look at and followed the politics of His Excellency President Mahama as far as the cocoa prices were concerned, President Mahama, as flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, at no point in time made reference
of the National
Democratic Congress, at no point in time made references to 6,100 or more as the price per cocoa bag. It was never done. Secondly, our manifesto is before all of you. Go through the manifesto. The promises we made are captured in the manifesto, and we're clear that when it comes to the FOB, this government, that is an NDC government, will do everything within its power to ensure that cocoa farmers receive 70% of the FOB prices. Mind you, before 2016 general election, their former minister responsible for agriculture, Dr. Akotose, had cause to call on His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama then to ensure that cocoa farmers get 70% of the FOB prices. Unfortunately, we lost that election, and President Mahama indeed made that commitment. That was the basis of his inclusion in our 2020 manifesto and 2024 manifesto.
Right.
We lost. When the NPP came into power, for 8 good years, they were unable to give them the 70% FOB price. Did they? At no point in time. So, Nana, that is why I'm saying that it is important for us to contextualize it. It is true that in the lead up to the election, and even in his vetting, sometimes I am yet to be shown another video. But the video I saw of our finance minister, even before the vetting committee, he was emphatic. He said, and you can play it, he said, at the time I was making a call for cocoa farmers to be paid 6,100 of the producer price, I was making that call being cognizant of the world market prices of cocoa at the time. And what was the world market prices of cocoa at the time? And said that he wouldn't change his mind, all things being equal, and that he still maintained that that call was justified. You can play that video. And at the time he was making the call, we're talking about cocoa prices in the region of per metric ton, world market, in excess of $12,000. Nana, when it was $12,000, their government decided to put the FOB price rate at $4,850, far less than the $12,000 at the world market. Was that not the case? And when they did the rating and placed it at $4,850, they were not paying cocoa farmers $4,850 per metric ton. They were paying them $3,100 per metric ton. Less than 70% of the FOB price. At the time this announcement was made, in relation to the one made by our Greek minister and that of Ato Forcing, the finance minister, what was the world market price of cocoa? It was about 7,400.
7,200.
It ended the day at 7,200, but at the time of the announcement, it was 7,400. Government placed the FOB rating at 7,200, only $200 short of the 7,400, and proceeded to give the cocoa farmer 70% of the FOB price. I dare the New Patriotic Party to show us evidence in the last 30 years, in the last 3 decades of our democratic governance, where a government has been able to honor that promise of giving cocoa farmers 70% of the FOB price. They should show us. And this was the promise His Excellency President Mahama made. This was the promise that was captured in our manifesto. And I can assure them that if indeed we were in power for the 2024-2025 economic season, when they were setting the price targets, I am pretty much convinced that the average Ghanaian cocoa farmer would have been entitled to 6,000 Ghana cedis and would have paid it, because then the international market prices for cocoa was favorable. These are the facts. Again, don't forget that we are even doing this. We have made that offer at the back of the huge liabilities they left for us at Cocoa Board. This crop season alone, Cocoa Board would have to look for in excess of 100 metric tons of cocoa beans to go and offset a syndicated loan they took at 2,600 Ghana cedis per metric ton. Dollars. Today, at the world market stage, it is about 7,200. We would have to sell that, go and give that cocoa at $2,600. So that liability is on this government and the cocoa farmer. Because of their recklessness, because of their incompetence, because of their appetite to borrow and to waste those resources in the name of building cathedrals and the likes. This is your legacy. So if the cocoa farmers are complaining today, we cannot exonerate the wicked policy interventions driven by pettiness, wickedness, and corruption of the last administration. And this government has not pretended that the entire country is out of the woods in 7 months. No, we have not said that. We have not said that. Even when we succeeded in bringing stability to the city, and you in the media were challenging us to celebrate these victories, what did we tell you? We told you that for us, the focus is not, the excitement is not about reducing the, what's the name? Helping the dollar, the city to appreciate. It was about sustainability, and we are monitoring the trend. That tells you how moderate this government is, because we appreciate the economic situation we inherited, and we need to be very careful. We did not organize KK parties to celebrate that. We have not told you that we have arrested the city, given the keys to the IDGP, of which he has thrown away, like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, his boss did. Because this is a sensitive government. This is a government that appreciates that, look, we are leading a people, and their aspirations, their well-being, to a very large extent, rest on our shoulders. And we are not willing to compromise with that on the altar of petty partisanship politics. No, that is not the NDC that John Dramani Mahama is leading. So we need to understand that. So if we have done that in terms of the FOB price, and we have indicated that this is for this cocoa season, and we are getting the economy in check, and if we succeed in doing so, Nana, the cocoa farmers should be rest assured that by next year, they will even receive more. Unlike them, we have not said that that announcement has solved all the problems of our cocoa farmers. No. It will be hypocritical on the part of the National Democratic Congress government to think that the announcement 2 days ago has solved all our problems. We are not like them, as far as the cocoa farmers are concerned. We still believe with conviction that the cocoa farmers deserve more. And if the government had the space, I am convinced that we would have given them more. Because if you look at the psychology of this administration, it is clear that our policies are intended to benefit the ordinary Ghanaian. That is why we have raised the FOB price to that 70%. Many would be asking, especially when the discussions were going on, they said that if you raise it to 70%, you are the very people telling us that Cocoa Board is indebted. How are you going to pay the debt? You didn't hear those questions. But as a government, we do not think that we should continue to service the inefficiencies of cocoa board at the back of the hard-working cocoa farmer. So let them have their share. And that is why government has decided, as part of that drive, to move cocoa road construction away from cocoa board, and we are giving it back to Ministry Roads and Highways, responsible for that. So that liability of about 21 billion, we are having discussions to transfer that to the Ministry of Roads and Highways. The 21 billion Ghana cedis they left. Now, Nana, in addition to that, they took away the free subsidies for cocoa farmers.
And the fertilizer and
the fertilizer, yes. That's what I'm talking about. This government has announced a reintroduction. So what that tells you that even with the prices the cocoa farmers today are receiving, they would not have to dip into that prices and go and pay for fertilizers like they were doing under them. So the government, in a way, has saved some costs in that regard. That is progress. The government, on top of that, has launched the scholarship fund for the cocoa farmers, which will kickstart 2025-2026 academic year.
For tertiary education.
For tertiary education.
Because now free SHS has taken away.
Yes, intended as an incentive to our cocoa farmers.
And if I'm a cocoa farmer today and my child is in primary?
Sir, you see, sometimes you need to understand that we are looking at the numbers. You may have many of them who have their kids going to tertiary education. And some undoubtedly, maybe, what do you call it?
Younger than the tertiary age.
That's why you have free basic education and that of free senior high school. They will only take advantage of that. You don't launch policies so that people can benefit in a way that is contradictory. Absolutely not. There's already a package for them at that level. Yes. So, Nana, that is the difference between what we are doing and what they did. And he's saying that this government is running an economic policy that appears contradictory because prices of goods and services are high. Sometimes when you listen to my brother and many communicators of the New Patriotic Party, you wonder if they have learned useful lessons in the last 7 months, especially when it comes to their commentary on the economy. You think that in 7 months, we have cleared all your rot, your mess? You think that in 7 months, we have done so? When we continue to tell you that we are working 24/7 around the clock to clear the economic mess you left us. You think that we have reversed all your higher prices in 7 months? This government has not claimed that. But there's significant improvement. I didn't make references to the reduction in petroleum prices as compared to what was happening under you. You did. That is progress. Again, we took over from you an inflationary rate of 23%, 22 to 23%. Today it's in the region of 13%. Is that not the case, Nana? And when we say inflationary, it doesn't mean that prices of goods and services will not increase. It simply tells you that if under you, prices were galloping at an average rate of 22.5%, under this administration so far in 7 months, the rate of increment is now about 13.5% or so. So the rate of increment is far, far lower than we were recording under your so-called economic messiah boss, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who deceived this country simply because he wanted to be vice president and attempted that deception again in the last election, and the Ghanaian people saw through it and exposed him for what he truly is. Nana, so that is us. You are mentioning things that the cocoa farmers would not be able to buy. And you are coming out with your own figures. We know that under you, with an inflationary rate of 22.5%, it would have been more. The cost of those items would have been more than you are mentioning, if indeed they are true. Nana, again, the same Dennis makes reference to the exchange rate regime we are dealing with. Even if you take the NDC's black market rate today, black market rate that he's making references to, he says Aboki is the one who holds the dollar, and it's not Bank of Ghana. Even if you take the Aboki rate, it is better than their official rate when they were in power. Is that not a fact? Because if you are even going to get a dollar at the Aboki rate at 12.17%. That is still far, far, far better than their official Bank of Ghana rate when they were in charge of our economy. So they should not dare us when it comes to the economic fundamentals. We are miles ahead. And when it comes to sensibilities, this government appreciates the sensibilities of the Ghanaian people. And so I say to our cocoa farmers, in all humility, we are not celebrating about this recent announcement. We are still convinced that they deserve more.
Right.
And we will do everything within our power to ensure that they get more. Because we will not take them for granted. We know the kind of investments we did between 2015 2016 year in terms of the cocoa sector. That is why they were getting the better yields for 2017 when they came into power and 2018. It was the legacies of the National Democratic Congress and the investments John Dramani Mahama made in that sector. And we are committed to making those investments once more. And we know that undoubtedly the appreciation of the cedi would definitely have a cost effect in terms of the new prices. But what you also need to remember is that for 5 months, we paid them, even though the cedi was doing better, we paid them at the rate of $1 to 16 Ghana cedis, maintaining the old exchange rate regime. So the farmers for 5 months benefited more when everybody in the country...
1,148 or
yes,
plus.
When everybody in the country was now having to deal with an appreciating cedi. So the dollar meant that
lowest, you wouldn't have more cedis
in hand. They were still being pegged at that level for 5 months as a subsidy, as a form of subsidy by the central government of this country.
Was it also because you didn't announce a reviewed price in the minor season?
It could be. I am not ruling out that possibility. But Nana, all what I'm telling you is that it was better because we pegged it at that level. For 5 months, we managed it. We were bearing the brand. They did not even dare to do that. And so, and I hear him make reference to it and say, oh, the cocoa bar forcing made reference to $1, 16 Ghana cedis, which was the Aboki rate under them. So if this government left it at $1 to 16 Ghana cedis using the Aboki rate, have we changed it? Even if we are to accept this conclusion. But you see, to finally to land, you see, I will say this again, Nana. As politicians, we can do all kind of politics we want to do. But we must be very honest to the Ghanaian people. And it was that lack of honesty that cost the NPP in the last election. It was that lack of honesty that is still making it difficult for them to even agree amongst themselves as to how to conduct their internal processes. Because we are dealing with a bunch of people who are so dishonest that even amongst their own core, they struggle to find honesty in dealing with each other. And so they should not subject the entire nation to that catastrophic way of politicking. This is a government that will not be stampeded by the incompetence or wickedness or machinations of the New Patriotic Party. This is a government that is focused on delivering. And we know that we cannot solve all the problems of this country in 7 months. And we are committed to ensuring that we leave a legacy that we all will be happy about. Because we know as a Social Democratic Party that the betterment of the Ghanaian people will translate into the betterment of our tradition. And so we will not take that for granted.
Thank you, Hamza. Let me